What's up, friggin' world, and welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. My name is Justin Copeland, and on this channel, Stay Fresh Productions, we talk about all things related to fragrance. If you have any interest in that kind of content, then welcome. You're in the right place. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Join the Fresh Squad, again, just by clicking that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so every time I drop a video, you get a notification and you never miss it. And if you do like this video, please hit that like button. It costs you nothing. It really does help with my visibility across YouTube. Thank you so much in advance. Today we're talking about the house of ROJA Parfums. Now, ROJA, for many people who are familiar with the brand, might bring a few ideas to mind. Number one, very high quality, luxurious, posh fragrances, even down to their presentation. Number two, high price tag. You do have to pay quite a bit of a high price to get some of these fragrances. They do kind of vary, and there are ways to smell them without spending so much money, but in general, they are on the higher end of price. But in my opinion, for many of the fragrances, you do get what you pay for. You know, if you're not familiar, Roja Dove is the perfumer for ROJA Parfums, and he's gained so much success and notoriety throughout the fragrance industry, especially in the niche world. He's put out so many fragrances in his arsenal, and there's such a wide variety. Today, we're gonna talk about 10 of some of my favorite ROJA Parfums fragrances. Now, I have quite a few. A lot of them I have in the form of discovery atomizers, which you can buy from the website pretty much in almost any fragrance. I think it's about 7.5 milliliters. I have a lot of those, maybe 20 of those. And I got a few of them on this list. I have most of my bottles on this list, so we're gonna talk about 10. If you're looking for some places to hone in terms of this collection, because again, there's a lot of fragrances from this brand, here are 10 that hopefully you can check out. Now, I have two honorable mentions. We're gonna dive into those first. These two honorable mentions are both discovery atomizers, which look like this. It's gonna come in either a white or black box, and it slides out. And here's the atomizer, it sits in here. This fragrance is probably one of his most popular ones, and some of you might be surprised if you know the scent. On the back of these, you're gonna find the name of the scent. And as you can see, this is Diaghilev. And man, this is a Chypre fragrance, but it's kind of an animalic Chypre. It's very dry and mossy, kind of woody, spicy, but there's definitely an animalic tinge. I think there might be civet in here. You get a little tiny touch of this almost urine-like smell. It smells very provocative. I didn't like this at first. It's grown on me over time, but it is not one of my favorites, hence why it's an honorable mention. But a very special fragrance, quite unique. I think it is created in homage to a famous Russian critic, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know much about him, but this is one to check out. Wow, powerful stuff. Very powerful profile, very unique. That is Diaghilev. Okay, this one I actually did review a few years back when it came out. They sent me this little discovery atomizer of it. Comes in white. In general, the white ones are the feminine fragrances, the black ones are the masculine, but it's not really that absolute. You do have some crossover, especially some of the more unisex offerings. Like this one, I think is technically unisex. This is called Chypre Extraordinaire, another Chypre. And if you saw my review of this, one of the biggest things that stands out about this one is the price. It is not cheap, but some very high quality ingredients here and a very complex composition. Look at the color of this stuff. It's quite beautiful. It's nice and dark. And this smells phenomenal. This is a Chypre as well. Not quite as dry and mossy as Diaghilev. It's a little bit more floral, has quite a bit of white floral nature to it. I know there's a lot of tuberose in here. It's almost a little bit rosy in a way. Kind of sweet, fresh. There might even be some like fruity nature in here. It's almost futile to discuss ROJA's fragrances in terms of their note breakdowns because they are usually so complex, but you know, certain notes will stick out and those are worth noting. This is a Chypre fragrance, which is historically kind of a masculine profile, but it does lean a little bit feminine. But I love it. Very, very unique, very, very luxurious stuff. That is Chypre Extraordinaire. Okay, we're here at number 10. And this was so hard to put together because again, I have so many of his fragrances. It was tough to boil it down to 10. And there's so many that could have made it, but oh my goodness, this one packs such a punch. This is called Fetish Pour Homme. There is a Parfum as well. This stuff,
This stuff slaps you all up.
I sprayed this thing like 3 hours ago and it is still kicking. I think this is a Parfum concentration. Wow. Okay. Very complex once again. Lots of bright citruses up top to lure you in. But as it dries, you get castoreum in here. I think there's some leather. It's quite leathery, quite animalic. It's a little bit warm and sweet and earthy. Very complex scent, but man, it's dry, dusty, leathery, animalic with a little bit of the edges smoothed out from some other notes like vanilla and patchouli. Whew, not for everyone. Very elegant stuff. I would not wear this in anything but a suit. If you're looking for something to grab people by the nose, this is one to check out. Fetish Pour Homme, powerful stuff. But you gotta love animalic scents. Not my favorite, hence why it's so low, but definitely worth appreciating. All right, here at number 9, some people might be surprised to find this so low. This is a very unique scent. I do enjoy it, I do appreciate it, and I like it a little bit more each time I wear it. I just haven't worn it a ton, but it's, you know, it's just not my favorite out of all the ones I have. But this is Enigma Creation E. This is the Parfum Cologne version. I actually have not tried the original Parfum. Very rich, resinous fragrance. You get this very effervescent, bright, almost fizzy, bubbly quality up top. Some people relate it to Coca-Cola, but there's some booziness in here. There's even quite a bit of, again, benzoin, which is a resin that has a vanilla quality, but it can also be a little medicinal. And I think there might even be some tobacco in here. Ultimately dries down to a very beautiful and, again, very unique scent profile that is so elegant. This is a standout scent. You'll smell like nobody, and especially as it dries, this is beautiful stuff. It's really nice. Again, it's just not my favorite one. So that is Creation E. This is the Parfum Cologne version. All right, here at number 8, another one that might surprise you for being so low. I do really enjoy the scent. It's super versatile. I've worn it a lot over the years, but there are just others that have captured my attention much more. This is Elysium. Great scent. Definitely a great gateway into the house if you're looking to figure out what the quality of their fragrances is like. But this scent profile is more along the lines of something that's a little bit more mass appealing and maybe not quite so artistic, or something that's trying to tell a story. It is fresh. It kind of smells like the bottle. It smells a little bit blue, but there's a lot of complexity in here if you really dig for it. But topically, it smells very fresh and appealing and likable. Characterized by a lot of grapefruit, it's a lot of juniper berry, and a lot of vetiver. That is primarily what I get. There's a touch of some sweetness in there. Some people talk about it being fruity. I don't really get fruits out of this fragrance. It's mostly sharp, kind of bitter, but very fresh, a little bit herbaceous, maybe kind of green, but also woody. A touch of sweetness, but not really, at least for me. Some people complain about performance, but I don't really have a problem with this stuff. It doesn't push off for very long, but it will stick with me for the most of the day. So if you're looking for easy to wear, fresh fragrance from the brand, this is definitely one to check out. If you haven't already, if you haven't heard about it, do check out Elysium. Not a bad one at all. All right, here at number 7, this is a new one to my collection. This is a relatively new fragrance to the brand. I think it came out maybe last year or the year before, at least at the time I'm shooting this video. And this is an ode to the ocean. This is called Oceania. Gorgeous bottle. Absolutely stunning cap. Look at that. It's like a pillow of sapphire. And this fragrance, beautiful stuff. It changes quite a lot as it dries. I'm not going to go into the note breakdown because honestly I haven't studied it extensively, but it is very citrusy, fresh, a little bit aquatic, almost marine-like, salty sea air kind of scent. But as it dries, again, it changes a bit. It does have some depth to it. What this reminds me of is Creed's Arolfa, but I like this a little bit more than Arolfa. It has a touch of a sweetness on my skin that I enjoy more than Arolfa. Just reminds you of being either on the ocean or by the ocean. Very brisk, very refreshing scent, very authentic smelling. Very beautiful stuff, very appealing. But maybe a little bit less mass appealing than something like Elysium. Worth checking out if you're looking for like an aquatic scent that's a little bit different. That is Oceania. All right, here at number 6, one of my favorite vetiver fragrances that I own, that I've smelled. This is simply Vetiver. This is the Parfum Cologne version. I have smelled the original, which is really nice, but a little bit intense, and this one's a little bit easier to wrap your nose around. This is a very fresh, cooling vetiver, but has a little bit of a smokiness to it. Lots of beautiful citrus up top, like lemon, maybe bergamot in there, but it does dry to kind of a grassy, earthy, slightly smoky, but fresh vetiver note. And there's more going on to it than that. This does have resemblance for me to Tom Ford Grey Vetiver, but this is much more complex than that, especially with that smokiness. It adds just another layer of depth to the fragrance that I personally enjoy. Very classy stuff, something to wear when you want to look nice, but in the daytime, a great daytime fragrance. If you want to get into vetiver, this is kind of a good entry to vetiver in terms of high quality, complex vetiver fragrances that are still very likable and accessible. All right, we're into the top 5. We have basically a tie here. It's the same fragrance, just in different concentrations. So the first one is, we have a Discovery Atomizer. This came from a good friend of mine named Frederick. Thank you for this. And this is called Danger. Let's see if I can show you on the back. Yeah, this is the original Danger. It is tied with my bottle of the Parfum Cologne version of Danger. Now, both of these are fantastic. They are, again, basically the same scent. This is just much more dense, a little bit sweeter, a little richer, and definitely stronger. It's going to stick around a little bit longer, but this is no slouch either. This is such a beautiful scent profile. It has a nice duality to it. It is fresh with citruses in there, but it does dry down to like a warm, sweet, vanillic, almost ambery scent, maybe a little bit woody, but a lot going on here. I'm not really doing it justice by talking about the notes. It smells both aromatic but also sweet and warm all together in one. This is something I would wear maybe spring or early fall when it is a little bit warm out. It has a little bit more of a transparency to it, a little bit more freshness, whereas this one is much more concentrated. I would save this for late fall and winter. Smells fantastic though. And again, basically the same profile. This one in full bottle form is much more expensive than the Parfum Cologne, but you can probably find decants of either one. I will have some links down below to all these fragrances where you could either just go ahead and buy it if you want, or if you want to go ahead and try to get a decant, I'm going to have that all down below so you can try these fragrances. But our number 5 spot is Danger. Here at number 4, this was one of my favorites for a long time, and it is still in the top 5. I love this fragrance so much. From the Parfum Cologne line, probably my favorite from the Parfum Colognes is Scandal. And this is essentially a fougere. Wow. Very bright, invigorating citruses. Lots of lemon in here mixed with some, I think, quite a bit of lavender. It is quite aromatic and a little herbaceous. Has a greenness in there. Woody, a little dry as it dries down. But there's a sweet creaminess in there that is just gorgeous. And it kind of has that barbershop quality. If you like those types of scents, this is a very complex version of a fragrance like that. Yet again, I prefer this one to its Parfum counterpart. It just smells more fresh and more open and more inviting to me. Just wonderful stuff. Makes me smile every time I smell it. Will always be one of my favorites, and this bottle is just gorgeous. It's like purple. If you could get light from the back, you would be able to see it looks stunning. So that's Scandal here at number 4. All right, here at number 3, this is a relatively new scent once again. I think this came out just last year, 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And this was created as an homage to celebrate ROJA Parfums' 5th anniversary at their location in London at the Burlington Arcade, which is a 200-plus-year-old department store, more or less. And they've been there for 5 years. And they wanted to celebrate that with this fragrance called Burlington 1819. This is a beautiful scent. Wow. You have to love bitter grapefruit. You gotta love that sharpness that it can bring. It has a nice sweetness in there that does balance it out. It's quite astringent and sharp and fresh, but it gets warm as it dries, maybe with some vanilla or tonka bean, and it sticks around a good while. I love it, man. I love it. Again, it's a nice duality of sharp and kind of almost pungent, but natural smelling and sweet. Really beautiful stuff. And also look at this cap. Great stuff. That's my number 3. Here at number 2, also a favorite from the house, if you like oud, if you like rose. This is a beautiful scent. This is called Amber Oud. I just want you to see the color of the juice. Well, it's a little too dark. Let me pull it out. Look at that. Rich, almost red amber. And it smells the way that it looks. Now there is what they call, I think, a crystal parfum version where it is the same scent, it's just completely transparent. It's clear, so it actually won't stain, because this will stain if you're not careful. Beautifully balanced, not a ton of oud in here, not overly woody, just kind of like this warm, almost syrupy sweet amber, but with a nice, almost kind of jammy rose in there. It is posh, it is luxurious, unbelievable stuff. Something I wouldn't really wear outside of the winter. It is quite strong, but not overpowering. Really, really nice. That is Amber Oud. All right, here at number 1. This one has been one of my favorites since I smelled it for the first time. It blew me away. Everyone I've shown it to has loved it. And this is currently my favorite from the house. We got Oligarch. I've talked about this one a couple times recently, so it may be no surprise that this is number 1, but this stuff is stunning to me, especially for a fresh scent. Oh man, character, oh. It kind of goes along the lines of something like the Burlington, but not quite so citrus heavy. I think it's more juniper berry, and there is still a little bit of a sweetness in here. It is almost Chypre-like. It has a dry, almost mossy woodiness to it, but it's quite fresh and sharp, and there's even, again, a little bit of a sweetness. You got some florals in there that kind of round it out, make it a little smooth. It smells expensive. It really does. I recommend sampling this if you can. Great for the springtime. I'm definitely going to be wearing this as the weather warms up. I've always wanted a bottle. I have been rocking my Discovery Atomizer for a while, which I'm about to send to a very good friend of mine who loves the scent. So I'll be rocking this bottle for years to come. That is Oligarch. I recommend checking this out if you can. All right, if you're still here, I appreciate it. I would love to know what your favorite fragrance from ROJA Parfums is. If you've tried any of them, whether the ones on this list or ones that I haven't talked about, let me know down in the comments. What's your favorite ROJA Parfums fragrance? If you had to suggest one to someone or recommend one, either to me or anyone else, let me know what that one fragrance is. I want to know. If you liked the video, please like the video once again. It really helps me out so much. And please consider joining the Fresh Squad. It's as simple as subscribing. You click that button and you are part of this family, part of this community. You're instantly made fresher by a factor of 10. Everyone around you is gonna know it, trust me. They're gonna be like,
man, how did you just elevated somehow.
You'd be like,
Hey, I subscribe to this channel, you should do it.
and then we just spread the word like gospel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.